All right, Kat, this is your opportunity to redeem yourself.
You
and
ready?
I will say, Maddie completely missed the memo last week, which had me furious.
Oh, yeah,
Had me
we do
staring
that.
at the ceiling that night. Timmy's stat
Stat,
deep.
dive.
Okay, our very first player in the deep dive we have got Scotty Drinkwater. Talk to me, Timbo.
Firstly, thank you for that. I haven't slept for a week after Maddie's lack of respect and awareness last week.
What an arsehole.
I'll sleep well tonight. How would you describe Scott Water as a Supercoach player?
Scott Water.
Scott Water.
I didn't realise I said that.
How would I describe Scott Drinkwater? I you know what? I know what you're trying to do here, and I'm going to lean into it. Bit of a roller coaster. He can be up and down. You can't rely on him. Is that how it goes, Timmy? Is that Scott Drinkwater?
Kind of, but I was sort of hoping you leaning into the flat track bully and like beats up against poor teams sort of thing.
Yes,
because
okay.
I've deep dived before on Drinky and shown that he's not actually a roller coaster.
Yeah.
He had the 14 this year, sure, whatever. It was one bad week. It's actually against opposition, and he doesn't only beat up on soft teams. So I found this today and I loved it. 8 games he's played this season against the top 6 teams on the NRL ladder. He's averaging 87 points in those games, which is 6 points higher than his season average.
Wow.
That's good, hey?
Yeah, that's bizarre.
Because if you asked me prior to seeing that, I would have been like, okay, he probably averages 100 against bottom 8 sides and 50 against top 8. But it's a good stat, hey?
Yeah, I had him as my first draft pick last year, and I don't think he was doing that last season. I think he was sort of.
It's a this season
It's a
thing.
this season
Yeah.
thing for sure,
Yeah.
yeah. So that's good to see for Scotty Drink Bloke, or Scott Water, as we called him earlier. Let's move to Blayke Brailey, who, by the way, and this is very off topic, and I don't know if anyone else will care about this. I think you might. So there's Blayke Brailey, there's Jaden Brayley, there's one more, Taj Brayley, who, if you keep up to date with the junior grades, was regarded for the last few years as potentially the best Brayley. Bit of a hybrid of both of them. I watched him play Josh in Jersey, SG Ball, probably 2 years ago. Looked to be a good 9. He's completely given up on rugby league, and he's turned to it like an entire career in creating content and sort of been going around the world and doing all this stuff. So really cool to see Taj Brayley doing that stuff. I like that. Very niche, I know.
That
But
sounds awesome.
yeah, I love that after Jaden they got a little bit niche and they went Blake and they thought we'll chuck a Y in there.
Yeah.
And Taj went really out there, which I like.
Good on him.
One of the great families, the Brayleys.
I'll keep an eye out.
3 good looking roosters too.
Yeah.
Blake's the best looking one, I think.
Wouldn't do it tough at Northies.
No, Blake would. Blake would be just fine. Blake with a Y. Why not? Talk to me.
Mate, this one's a golden nugget from the great Maxi Bryden, who's flying this season, and it's around Blayke Brailey. Obviously, 5-round average of 94 points per game since he got given that licence to run. Last 5 weeks, he's averaging 62 in base and power. Puts him up there with Hudson Young, Kevin Clyde-Matangi, Jacob Kiraz in base and power, so the floor is elite. Soft draw to come, and he says, is 30 points in attack sustainable week on, week out? Probably not, but he plays 3 of the worst 6 middle defences in the next month, so there's every chance he keeps finding some holes to exploit it. What are your thoughts on him?
Yeah, not a guy that I own. Probably not a guy I will own. I think he's just got away from me a little bit. I'm happy to run with Connor Watson at 9. But, mate, I was having a look at his scores the other day. I think in the last 5 weeks, he's gone under 100 once or something like that. I think there might have been a 98 in there or something. So he's gone below 95 once, which is just unbelievable. He is just flying at the moment. He doesn't look like slowing down. The Cronulla Sharks seem to be building their game plan around him as well, which only helps him. We said it on Bloke this week too. Like, AFB's not firing, in my opinion, and he's doing this stuff. It's crazy. So not a guy I think I'm going to own. Should I? Probably, but I'll tell you what, I play him in draft this week, so it's going to be 80 minutes of me watching him very closely, so I might have a different tune next week, but I can't see myself doing it. Can you?
No. If I hadn't gone Harry Grant a couple of weeks ago, and like I'm perfectly fine with Harry Grant, but it in a very quick space of time, Blayke Brailey's become the number 1 hooking option. So with that draw ahead, touch wood, but I was going to say extremely durable. He's the most durable player in the NRL thus far. Touch wood, don't jinx the poor kid. But you add that into it as well, and I said last 5 scores were 108, 117, 48, 97 and 102. Yeah, he's the man for the position. I don't really want to run that dual gun hookers. I've got another sort of fullback to potentially get in, or a Nathan Cleary, Payne Haas, a couple little things there. But look, I'm not going to begrudge anyone who wants to because the numbers are outstanding.
Yeah, you can't deny it. Lachy Galvin over there at the Canterbury Bulldogs, one that I'm Very interested to hear your stats deep dive on. Take it away.
Yeah, so 444k, a 57-point average this season. In 80-minute games, that increases to 62 points per game. In his 3 80-minute games at the Bulldogs, he's averaging 70 points per game. Mate, in his rookie season, he was outstanding. He averaged 64 last year at the Tigers. I mean, for anyone that's looking to downgrade maybe a Dylan Brown or whoever it might be in that 5'8 slot, there'll be people out there with Munster and, you know, a King Tongia or someone this week, maybe Latu Fainu, and you can get Lachy Galvin for a really good price, playing purely based on matchup. You can play him in a handful of games on the run home. I don't mind it.
Yeah, I don't mind it too. I think it's a nice play. I think I'm going to prioritise other guys that I know have got higher ceilings there. But yeah, I don't think it's a bad play at all. Two guys that I'm very, very interested in. In fact, I'll give you a little hot tip before we get to trades. They might be in my team as we speak, and they weren't in there yesterday. Nathan Cleary and Dylan Edwards. Heard of them?
Yeah, a couple of times, certainly during the last week. The last round was the first game this season, incredibly, that Dylan Edwards featured without Cleary. I did this afternoon. If there was one game there, they played together, I apologise. But I believe it was the first game.
If there was one game, though, murder him in the comments,
yes,
please.
They will.
Let him
sure
fucking have it. Be mean, too. Be, like, really mean-spirited.
But also, I've gone to a lot of work to get this, so consider that when you go to roast me, because I've had a deep dive. It took me a while, this one. In games without Nathan Cleary in 2024, Dylan Edwards averaged 90, and it's also relevant to you, mate. So,
yeah, I'm here. I'm listening.
God. In games without Nathan Cleary in 2024, he averaged 90 points in 11 games. In games with Nathan Cleary in 2024, he averaged 78 in 6 games. So, not as big a difference as I thought it'd be. A 12-point swing, but then you add on, at least as it stands, that he might be goal kicking as well. That probably closes that buffer a fair bit. So, the way I see it, mate, and I don't know if we're going to get information on this before the weekend, if Dylan Edwards kicks, particularly over the next 2 weeks with that soft draw, he's a must. If Nathan Cleary regains the goal kicking for the next 2 weeks, he's a must. Would love a bit of insight.
Would love a bit of insight. I gave you dodgy mail last week, which didn't help. Shout out to the Roo crew.
It happened.
Yeah. I said last week, I don't love Dill Edwards as having him in my team as my fullback because I feel like he doesn't have the ceiling. He then went and dropped 170 on my head, which was mad. I still kind of feel that way. If he gets goal kicking, I will trade him in because I've got trades to trade him back out in 2 or 3 weeks' time. But if he doesn't get goal kicking, mate, the thing is with Latrell out now and whatnot, I don't know who else to go to from Pappy. So I think I have to make a move somewhere unless I just hold Pappy for eternity until he comes back and hope that I'm the only dude that has him. But even then, I'm not super confident. So maybe Dill is the best play. I'm
with you, mate. And I just think, for what it's worth, like in our scenario with some trades in bank, if you get him for 2 really soft matchups, he's going to make a ton of cash. He's probably 850, 900k. When the draw does get tough, and if he loses goal kicking, we can then move him on where he could easily average 65, 70 once the draw gets tough and he loses goal kicking. The next 2 weeks, though, he can end a season potentially as a goal kicker against the Tigers and Titans.
It is going to be interesting, though, mate. Like, even in 3 weeks, who are we going to move him to?
Well, let's get to the last player on my list.
Charlie Gubbemer.
I was going to skip.
Cometh the hour.
I was going to skip Guymer, but I'll touch on him very quickly.
No, we're not skipping Guymer, mate. He's one of my plays of the week. Negative, I think it's a negative 25 break even now. Cashola incoming. He's scoring.
Do you still have him?
I brought him last week.
Oh, you bought him?
Yeah, it was my one buy last week. Fucking killing it. Made 60k last week. Negative 23 break even. Boys flying, Charlie Guymer.
I sold him when he was playing Reggie's and no sight of playing, and he's just become prime Anthony LaFranchi on the edge there.
I might play him this week.
Just in spite.
Yeah.
Back-to-back scores of 68 and 80, 47 and 69 in base. Look, what is he? 387k, break-even of neg 23. I didn't want to bring it up, but look, not that Madison was going to be a problem, but Kidione Kautonga, he's gone pretty long-term. They don't have a lot of other edges there. He's been playing awesome. If you need to free up some cash, he's still a decent buy.
He is still a decent buy. I would just say, so Jack Williams played on the left from memory last week, and I think Guymer played on the right.
Yeah. Which
is all good and well. He gets Mitch Moses this week. I hope Moses plays right, Hawkins plays left. I assume that's what they'll do. Just Kelma Tuolangi's available in round 22. So just keep that in mind. That's
Is
the
he?
only. Yeah, he comes back from suspension.
So Jack probably goes back to the middle, but
I would assume they shift Jack back
Yeah.
to the middle, but it is just something to be aware of.
Yeah. And I mean, the only other thing is, look, you're probably not going to play Guyman that much anyway. As it stands, you can, but he's playing around. He's tinkering for 2026, Jason Ross. We know that. That's the only thing, but he's playing great footy. So
I would say as well, this week in particular, he does get that Ezra Mann matchup with Mitch Moses back. So
yeah.
if you're going to play him any week, I don't mind it being this week. He'll be a little try scorer for me. Spoiler alert. Let's talk about another fullback in Grease Lightning, Reece Walsh.
Yeah, I know you hate this one, but I was genuinely, I still am considering it, to be honest, but I don't think the appeal of the allure, I should say, of Dill Edwards and the goal kicking, I don't know if I can go past it, but the Broncos next fortnight, they've got the run home, they've got 4 of 6 games at Suncorp Stadium. The next 2 weeks, they have the Eels and the Rabbitohs. They're one of the informed teams of the competition. We know they've got points in them. Going through the stats a little bit further around Reece Walsh, since he came back from injury in round 14, he's averaged 80 points per game. He averaged 75 last year. If you drop the game where he got a concussion 4 minutes in, that goes to 81 points per game, and he averaged 80 points per game back in 2023. He's one Adam Reynolds hammy twinge away from goal kicking. He's cheap. I know you don't like him as a player, and I know you always say he has to do a lot to get his points. He does, but he's an attacking Adonis. Like, he gets the points. The floor is low. It's lower than most fullbacks in the game. I get that, but I just think the Broncos have got points in him on the run home, especially the next 2 weeks. I don't mind the Reece Walsh play.
Yeah, I don't push back on you, especially the next 2 weeks. I think they'll put big scores on. I think South Sydney and Parramatta just defensively, I can just see Brisbane having a field day. 2 games at Suncorp as well. That's enormous. So, no, I can get around it. I love Reece Walsh as a player. I just think from a Supercoach point of view, as you said, he has to just do a lot. But, mate, the Broncos are doing a lot at the moment. And, yeah, so the next 2 weeks I can get around it. I would still rather Edwards, definitely. But I think if you got a little bit more courage than I, back you.
Yeah, well, it's just on most other given weeks, I would have been nearly done it. It's just with Edwards emerging that everyone owns with these games, like that can end a season very quickly.
Yep.
There's the Nathan Cleary. Like, I'm looking at flex with Pappy, right? And I've got Teddy and Drinky who I want to hold. There's the flex position there who I can get Cleary, who looks a great buy, and he's obviously a lot safer. Dylan Edwards, who you risk, getting obliterated if you don't get him. It's just become a tricky week, but I think there's a play in it, and I think there's a world where if the Broncos continue to fire on the way home, there's another issue because they can be hot and cold. But if they do, like, he could average 90 to 100 plus on the run home. Could average 40 as well. It's Reece Walsh, but I think he can. I think he flies.
Yeah. And I mean, he's got 2 matchups there against the Melbourne Storm in the run home, which is sort of go, but mate, Melbourne's not Melbourne at the moment.
No, not defensively.
Not defensively, yeah. So I can get around it. It's one of the few times I will support it.